A judge ruled today to take the money away from the couple and to account for every single dime that was raised in a GoFundMe account.
They used thousands of it to go on lavish trips, shopping sprees, and to gamble.
You wake up to the buzzing of your phone. The screen flashes with breaking news alerts, and the headline makes you sit up straight. Karmelo Anthony's family home repossessed. This wasn't just any house. It was the family's crown jewel, a sprawling estate worth nearly $25 million, once a proud symbol of success and wealth. Now, it's the center of a high-profile criminal investigation. The reason for this sudden fall from grace? A devastating chain of events set in motion by the arrest and indictment of Karmelo Anthony's parents on first-degree murder charges. For years, these same parents had been praised for raising a future sports superstar. Now, their names are etched onto the wrong side of the law, and their once respected reputation is in tatters. By the time the sun rises, news vans have already claimed spots along the quiet street. Helicopters circle overhead, their cameras trained on the grand gated entrance.
My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's fearful of what might happen to her. And let me be clear, the claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false.
A red tagged notice flutters in the wind, taped to the front gate. Behind the hedges, a moving truck idles, its driver waiting for the go-ahead. This isn't a police raid. No SWAT teams or flashing lights. The target isn't the people, it's the property. According to officials, the family had fallen behind on several mortgage payments while Karmelo's parents were in jail. Their bank accounts had been frozen under a federal investigation, leaving no funds to keep up with the home's enormous costs. The mortgage, still very much active, was never close to being paid off. Court documents show that the bank wasted no time. Depending on who you ask, the repossession was either an unavoidable business move or a calculated public humiliation. Neighbors say that earlier in the morning, before the media swarm arrived, a single white sedan was seen pulling out of the garage.
I wonder now if that will ever happen because of what he allegedly did next on April 2nd. That day, Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf got into a confrontation under the tent. According to witnesses, Metcalf told Anthony to leave the team's tent, and at that point, Anthony allegedly reached into his backpack and said something along the lines of "make me." Here's what Austin's twin brother told WFAA-TV.
No lights were on inside the house, and the curtains were drawn tight. Who was behind the wheel? No one can say for certain. Some wonder if it was Karmelo himself, trying to collect personal items before the lockout. Others believe it was a family friend or a hired hand sent to grab valuables. The larger question, the one whispered among neighbors and repeated endlessly online, is whether the family ever truly owned the house in the first place, or if it was all built on borrowed time and questionable money. Footage quickly surfaces online. Someone across the street filmed the moment bank representatives arrived. No shouting. No sirens. Just a repo officer with a clipboard, flanked by a locksmith drilling into the front door. Officials in plain clothes step inside, their expressions calm, methodical. The Anthony estate, once spotless and proudly maintained, stands silent as strangers sift through it. Some sources claim investigators are combing through financial documents left in the home office. Others say movers are boxing up luxury items for possible seizure under asset forfeiture laws. It's surreal, one neighbor tells local reporters. One day there are celebrity cars and holiday lights. The next, the only sounds are footsteps and camera shutters. Meanwhile, social media explodes with speculation. Was the mansion funded by legitimate earnings? Or did it benefit from the same frozen accounts tied to the murder charges? Public property records list the estate under a family trust. But leaked bank documents suggest the mortgage payments were made from accounts flagged in the investigation for suspicious activity. The idea that this home might have been bought and maintained with tainted money sparks outrage. Some see it as justice. Others see it as a witch hunt. Later that afternoon, Karmelo leaves the courthouse. Cameras catch him walking quietly toward a black SUV, no entourage trailing behind. He doesn't speak to the reporters calling his name. His expression is unreadable, a mix of exhaustion, shock, and determination. Inside the courtroom earlier, prosecutors presented a revised financial timeline. It showed large transfers taking place just weeks before the alleged murder. To build their case, they called witnesses ranging from real estate agents and bank employees to a former housekeeper. One of the most striking testimonies came from a former financial advisor, who stated bluntly that mortgage was nowhere near paid off. The internet is split. Some users rally in Karmelo's defense, calling the repossession premature since no trial verdict has been reached. Others are less forgiving. If you bought a mansion with blood money, don't be surprised when they take it back. Neighbors share their own memories. One describes constant black SUVs coming and going from the driveway. "We thought it was just celebrity life," the neighbor admits. "Now, I'm not so sure." Was the bank acting purely out of financial necessity, or was this meant to publicly embarrass the family before their day in court? Opinions vary wildly. The next morning, the story escalates again. Drone footage reveals unmarked moving trucks parked along the curb. Workers catalog expensive furniture and artwork. There are no family members present, only state employees and repossession agents. Then a shocking detail emerges. Just hours after changing the locks, the government listed the $25 million estate for sale on its asset recovery website, complete with photos, floor plans, and a timeline of the seizure. This was no spur-of-the-moment action. Insiders claim federal authorities had been tracing the paper trail for weeks before the murder charges were even filed. One unnamed investigator says, "We already knew about the trust accounts. We were just waiting for the trigger." The scandal deepens when security camera footage from inside the mansion is revealed as evidence. 2 nights before the alleged murder, one of Karmelo's parents was reportedly seen removing a locked metal case from a walk-in closet. Prosecutors believe this case may have contained the murder weapon. Now, the focus isn't just on the house. It's on what was hidden inside. The public begins asking darker questions. Was this ever a true family home, or had it always been a front for something far more sinister? When the latest hearing ends, the scene outside the courthouse is chaos. Reporters shout questions. Was the house in Karmelo's name? Were renovations paid for with illegal funds? Onlookers gather behind yellow tape not to get in, but to watch the fall from grace unfold. The mansion, once a silent fortress, has become a grim tourist attraction for crime enthusiasts. Inside, investigators walk through empty rooms, their footsteps echoing off marble floors. They aren't admiring the decor, they're cataloging evidence. According to a leaked federal affidavit, prosecutors allege that shell companies tied to the property were used to move over $3.3 million in suspicious transactions. The estate wasn't just insulated with expensive materials, it was allegedly insulated with fraud. Then, another leak hits the news cycle. An audio recording surfaces of the family's real estate lawyer on the phone, speaking in hushed tones before the indictment. "Get it out of Karmelo's name," the lawyer says urgently. The implication is clear: there may have been an attempt to shield the property from seizure before the legal hammer came down. The public starts asking themselves the hardest question yet: if your own parents jeopardized everything you had to cover up a crime, could you forgive them? Would you still support them, or would you walk away forever? The verdict on the house. Eventually, you're back in the courtroom. The judge speaks quietly, almost without ceremony. Repossession approved. With those 2 words, it's official. The Anthony family's empire, at least the part made of stone, glass, and manicured lawns, is gone. What remains is a mystery still unfolding, one that has left neighbors wary, fans conflicted, and the nation glued to every update. This wasn't just the loss of a home. It was the unraveling of a legacy. Once celebrated as a symbol of Karmelo Anthony's rise and his family's fresh beginning, the Grand XM house no longer belongs to them. That truth is heavy. In the courtroom, you can almost feel the air grow still. Karmelo's father's jaw tightens, his lips twitching ever so slightly. His mother's shoulders slump, as if the weight of years has suddenly fallen on them all at once. Their lawyers glance down at their notes, avoiding all eye contact. It's the kind of scene that feels like a film, only this is real, and the ending can't be rewritten. Outside, reporters are already firing words into microphones. One of them uses a term that sticks: foreclosure. Technically, that's not even the legal truth of what's happening. But the public rarely cares about fine print. Once a label is attached, it sticks, and perception becomes reality. That's the cruel thing about a story like this: facts matter less than the way it looks. Inside, a slideshow of financial papers glows across a projection screen. Pages flip by: missed mortgage payments, overdue statements, letters from the bank. One image lingers: an unusual wire transfer. It looks eerily similar to a payment tied to the murder investigation. Prosecutors don't officially make it part of the trial, but they don't need to. The connection is there, hanging in the air. It's pointed out that the date of the last mortgage payment almost perfectly matches the date of the weapon purchase. Was that pure coincidence? A cover-up? Or just the worst timing imaginable? You can almost hear the question buzzing in everyone's mind. If you noticed that same pattern yourself, would you speak up? Or would you convince yourself it was nothing more than a mistake in timing? That's the kind of line people are being forced to draw now, as the walls of this story cave in: one document, one bank statement, one headline at a time. By the time you step outside the Anthony estate, everything feels different. The tall, polished gates stand slightly open. The manicured lawn now bears the marks of deep tire tracks from government vehicles. The once proud home now has a glaring red and white sign posted on it: official, cold, and impossible to ignore. The neighbors, who normally keep to themselves, now stand at the edges of their driveways. They clutch their mail or water their plants as they talk in low voices. It happened so fast, one murmurs, almost to themselves. Another shakes their head. Should have seen it coming. You can feel the strange mix of curiosity, judgment, and unease. What was once just a local curiosity is now a story that the whole country is watching. Then the moving trucks arrive. No logos. No bright colors. Just large, blank, boxy vehicles, practical, almost intimidating in their silence. Workers in plain uniforms begin removing pieces of the Anthony family's life. A couch, a television, a stack of framed photographs. At one point, a dusty family portrait is carried out and placed face down in the truck. Whether it's accidental or deliberate, you can't tell. Across the street, a small crowd begins to form. Some are holding signs with blunt messages: no mansion for murderers. Justice for Meta. A few people record them on their phones, sending the footage into the endless churn of the internet. Soon the whole scene will be replayed, shared, and debated by strangers who have never even set foot in this neighborhood. One neighbor leans closer to you, whispering, "Think they'll take anything else?" You can't answer right away, because the thought sticks. Is this only the first step? Could more properties, more bank accounts, even family inheritances be seized if more evidence appears? And if it happened to you, your home, your belongings, would your neighbors defend you, or would they stand silently, just watching? The Anthony estate was once a trophy, a reminder of how far they'd come. Now it's nothing more than an address tangled in scandal. When the last moving truck slams its door shut, the sound echoes down the street like a closing argument. In one upstairs window, a single light flickers on. The house is supposed to be empty, but you find yourself wondering who turned it on? Maybe it's Karmelo, sneaking back for one final look. Maybe it's just a worker doing a last sweep. Or maybe it's a reminder that not all shadows disappear, no matter how loud the headlines become. Even without police tape or flashing lights, the feeling is the same. The perfect lawn is trampled, the air is heavy, and the life that once filled the rooms has been stripped away. A news van rolls by slowly, its camera pointed at the now empty driveway. They don't even stop anymore. There's nothing left to film. Online, the story has exploded. The latest posts are filled with sharp opinions: legacy ruined, family gone, house gone. Some comments are cruel. A few show sympathy. But most circle back to the same question: what happens next? Another black SUV pulls up. This time, a man in a suit steps out, carrying a tablet. He moves with quiet authority, walking up to the front door like he's done it 100 times. He's probably a financial officer or a government representative, here to finalize whatever comes next. And that's the deeper question now when justice comes for you. Does it stop at prison? Or does it erase everything you built before your fall? If it meant total accountability, would you be willing to lose your childhood home, your memories, even the roof over your head? That's the reality the Anthonys are living tonight. A family's empire can vanish in weeks. The walls that once kept them safe are now bare, the rooms emptied of furniture but heavy with history. And as you stand there, watching strangers carry away the last pieces of a life, you realize this isn't just the end of a home. It's the end of an image, a reputation, and maybe even the belief that success can protect you from the consequences of your choices.